cam bearing out right off the bat. Everything looks bring it back up to speed with what's been going on. Got the notches pretty well welded in and cut out. Don't look at those welds too close. Turns out I'm probably just not that good of a welder. Maybe it wasn't the flux core. It might have just been that I still don't have the finesse and techniques down, but I'm working on it. They're getting better, and I'm learning as I go. But I did get all the brackets chopped off of the axle. That was fun to get those bad boys off, but I got that chopped and cleaned up. And I want to put I will be putting a bar across here or something to tie these uppers in. This one leaned out just a little bit after I got done welding it, so I've got it, the top of the frame is actually pretty flimsy up there, so I definitely need to get something to tie these two guys together. So that's what I got that ratchet strap on there for, is just pulling it straight. That one actually stayed nice and level. This one kind of just a little bit. So it's pulling it straight, twisting everything back into line. So what I'm gonna do now is jack the frame back up, roll the axle under, and then set the frame down all the way on the ground where it's gonna go when it's sitting in a parking lot. Make sure I got clearance right here for the axle. If I do, I'm just gonna go straight across from corner to corner with probably that, I think that's 1 and, I don't remember what that is, 1.5 inch box tube. So that's the plan right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack the frame up. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and jack the frame up, get the axle underneath, and figure out where it's gonna sit on the ground. Grinding. So much grinding, so fucking gross and dirty. Okay, so I got this thing sitting down all the way down on the frame, had the axle fitted in here, and ended up just having to do a little bit of a notch. What I ended up doing was coming in and cutting a corner of this out on the top and the bottom, and then just actually flipping it over upside down, and then welding it in there, and I just kind of filled this gap, cut this at a 45 and just kind of filled that gap up with weld and then ground it out smooth. It's not like the prettiest, but it looks pretty good. I probably could fill that in with weld a little bit and just clean it up, but whatever, it's gonna work. Gives us the clearance we need for the rear end housing right there, so this thing can sit all the way down on the ground. And yeah, let's move over to the Chevelle. All right guys, so we've been tearing into the Chevelle, as you've probably seen on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, maybe a little bit on YouTube, probably not yet though. But I've been going down a rabbit hole with Project Twin Snail Mail, working on suspension stuff, trying to figure out all the ins and outs and all the things I need to learn because I've never done it before. And guess what I did? When I started pulling the motor of the Chevelle, we got the top end off, we got the supercharger off and all that stuff, and got the exhaust drop down. And right before I was getting ready to pull it, I said, you know, we get a terrible vibration at high speed, you know, 120 miles an hour. This thing gets violent. There's a bad vibration somewhere in the driveline. So, me knowing just a little bit about suspension, decided to, or driveline and pinion angle, decided to go ahead and start measuring that and figuring that out. And I went down a rabbit hole for the last 3 hours of trying to get the pinion angles to line up. So, came in here, hacked out some more of the transmission tunnel so that we could get the trans to go up to help try to soften the pinion angle a little bit and get them to line up. Oh, dropped the drive shaft, did all the measurements, moved the cross member out. I've got it close now, but the transmission now where it's sitting is actually lower than it was before in order to split the difference, to get it as close as possible. And the degrees were still approximately, oh, what the heck was it? It was like 3.4 degrees and 3.2 degrees. So they're really close, but in order to do that, I had to drop it so far, which I didn't really like that. Overall, we started out being about 6 degrees total difference between the vertical surface or the Yeah, the vertical surface of the motor, the crank, versus the vertical surface of the pinion. So what I have determined is that I need to order, and I just did. I've got off the phone with Zach over at Speedway, talked to him for 30 minutes on that, and ordered a set of adjustable upper control arms for the rear end so I can get that pinion angle up, because right now it's basically flat or level. It's about 1 degree pointed down, whereas the motor is sitting about 3.5 degrees pointed down. So they're actually pointed in opposite directions, and that's where my issue is coming from, I think. So what we're gonna end up doing is just rotating up the pinion slightly, and we're gonna get that closer. That'll allow me to get my transmission raised back up to where I want it, because I want to raise it just a little bit to give me a little more room on the firewall, and hopefully that'll take care of the problem and get everything back in line. But the part is on back order. Got a super good deal on it. For whatever reason, they're trying to clearance this stuff out, or they had a bunch of it in stock, is basically what he said, and so they super clearanced it on Black Friday in order to move a lot of it. But there are parts of it, there's one piece that's on back order, and I don't even need that piece. So I was able to get an entire rear suspension kit for $100 with the sway bar, with the adjustable control arms. It was 85% off right now, which is insane. Otherwise, I could have just bought the 2 upper control arms for like $194. So it's a no-brainer. I'll wait. This doesn't have to go back together till the springtime. So we are going to go ahead and get probably just drop the transmission out of it since it's already up in the air, and get this motor yanked out. Get it pulled apart, see what's wrong with it. I got a podcast on Monday. It's Friday right now, so I got to make sure that I have all this stuff done and able to roll out. I got to be able to roll the Chevelle out to do the podcast. So now let's get to pulling it out. Well, kind of looks to me like it took a cam bearing out right off the bat. Everything looks good for the rods. They're all nice even color, nothing's dark. But if you look down in there on this cam journal down here, there's a bunch of metal sticking out the side of the bearing. It looks like the bearing's all balled up and blobbed up. Right there and down there. So I'm gonna lean towards it, wipe the cam bearing. That sucks. All right, guys, it's gonna be a wrap for this one. As you saw, the Chevelle summer motor spun a cam bearing, which really sucks because that took out our BTR Stage 3 blower cam. So we're gonna have to get a new cam for the Chevelle's forged motor once that starts going together. Hoping that the block is not hurt. It probably is trash, but I'm hoping that maybe it can be saved. If not, we do have the crank that should be good in there. I have another 6-liter crank. I'll probably end up getting a set of like forged connecting rods, and maybe a set of forged pistons for the snail mail motor. I don't know, that's still all up in the air. But yeah, the next episode we'll be getting the boxing plates on the frame and moving forward with getting the Welder Series 4-link hooked up and put on the car. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're getting super close to 1,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate it if you guys subscribe, tell a friend, let them know about the show, help us grow, and I appreciate everybody that's been with us since day one. So catch you on the next one.